is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
There is somebody out there armed with a firearm who shot one of our deputies in the back. And if he's willing to do that, I'm sure he's willing to shoot at anybody else.
Now at 9, ambushed. An LA sheriff's deputy shot in the back while waiting at a stoplight. He was saved by his bulletproof vest, but the gunman got away. We're live with the search for the suspect. Good evening, everyone. I'm Juan Fernandez. Pat Harvey is off tonight. A deputy is recovering after being shot in the back in West Covina, while the search is on tonight for the gunman. The deputy was on duty at the time, riding a motorcycle when he was shot at North Barranca Street at the intersection of East Garvey Avenue. And tonight, investigators don't know why he was shot or who the shooter is. KCAL News reporter Lori Perez live near the scene in West Covina with the very latest. Lori.
Juan, and they won't stop until they figure out the answers to those questions. This stretch of Barranca Street all the way to East Garvey Avenue remains closed off. Major crimes is here as investigators continue to look for anything that might lead them to the person who shot a deputy as he waited at that traffic light over the overpass here just down the street.
What kind of person shoots another person in the back? I could think of a lot of names for that. I won't describe them right now. There's a lot of words that I can come up with for that, and none of them are good right now.
Sheriff Robert Luna held himself back, but his disgust was clear as he described essentially an ambush of 19-year veteran deputy Samuel Aspuro as he was waiting at this West Covina traffic light Monday afternoon.
When he was shot in the back, I want to repeat that. He was sitting on a marked black and white police motorcycle in full uniform, and he was shot in the back.
First responders took Aspuro to the hospital via ambulance. It's unclear how many shots were fired, but Luna says the 43-year-old husband and father of 2 young children was shot once and is alive tonight because the bullet did not get past his safety gear.
The bulletproof vest he was wearing absolutely saved his life.
Luna says despite being shot, the deputy was able to immediately broadcast information about what happened. Investigators are looking for a white sedan with tinted windows, last seen driving westbound on the 10 from the Barranca on-ramp. They're asking anyone who was in the area at around 2:45 to come forward with information or any video that could help find the person who drove up behind the deputy and opened fire.
We need to hear from you, because right now there is somebody out there armed with a firearm who shot one of our deputies in the back. And if he's willing to do that, I'm sure he's willing to shoot at anybody else.
And that's the officer's motorcycle still here on the scene. Deputies originally tracked a white van reportedly spotted at the shooting scene to a home in La Puente. They did detain several people there, calling them people of interest, but the sheriff said they were released because they may not be involved in this case. We are live in West Covina. I'm Lori Perez. KCAL News, back to you.
Yeah, let's hope somebody knows something. Lori, thank you. Now to a violent, deadly, and seemingly random attack today at an LA metro station. A man armed with knives stabbed a woman as she got off a train in Universal City. It's the 4th violent attack on Metro in little over a week. KCAL News reporter Joy Benedict is live at the Universal City station, where passengers are on edge tonight. Joy?
Yeah, Juan, I mean, Metro has done a lot to try and make people feel safe or help people feel safe here in this community. They've added lights. They've made it more difficult for people who don't have tickets to get in. They're even blasting classical music in some places. But it certainly didn't help the situation this morning when police say a woman was murdered while riding the train. Bright lights lit up the Universal City Metro station, a sign to keep it safe. But for passengers riding tonight, things are still uneasy.
You're minding your own business and then you die. It's just, it's horrific, and it shouldn't happen to anyone.
Word spread quickly that a woman in her 60s was attacked on the train while coming into the station early Monday morning. She died. Police call it murder.
All the members of the Metro family are just devastated, and our hearts go out to the friends and family of our passenger.
Ara Najarian is on the Metro Board of Directors.
We will be looking at this, trying to understand what happened, what caused this, and how we can stop it from ever happening again.
The LAPD says the woman, a mother, had left her overnight job in the valley and was riding the train home around 5 a.m. Detectives say a man carrying 2 knives walked up to her unprovoked while she was in her seat and started stabbing her in the face and head numerous times. She was rushed to the hospital where she died. The suspect, who is homeless, was arrested nearby about 30 minutes later.
They strongly believe that this is the individual who committed this murder this morning.
Police arrested 45-year-old Elliot Noden for murder. Court records show he was also arrested in 2019 for assault with a deadly weapon and sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Everything was going well. We were seeing a decrease in crime this year. But unfortunately, this is an event that sticks in everyone's mind, and we just have to figure out how we can make sure it never happens again.
According to the most recent safety report, crime on the Metro is down from this time last year, with 166 crimes against a person in February, including 12 assaults. But the board is considering beefing up security once again, in addition to armed contract officers and ambassadors, which they have now, adding security guards or possibly its own police force.
We feel that if we have our own force, we have more direct command of their placement, of resources, of their hours, of how we keep track of them, that may be of some benefit.
Of course, any changes would come too late for this rider and her family, but they may save someone else.
I'm not sure if extra police would help. I'd like to think. I think just an increased presence kind of leads to an increased sense of safety.
Now the Metro Board will consider the possibility of its own police force in the next couple of months at one of their later board meetings. As for the suspect that's in custody right now, he's being held on $2 million bond. Guys.
All right, thanks so much, Joy. And tonight we're learning more about the man accused of breaking into Mayor Karen Bass's home yesterday, and police say it's not his first run-in with the law. KCAL News reporter Michelle Geely has the latest from Hancock Park.
A day after the break-in at the official residence of LA's mayor, Karen Bass took a moment during a news conference rolling out the city's budget to thank police.
Before we get into the budget, I just want to thank the Los Angeles Police Department again for responding to the incident at the Getty House yesterday. Investigations are ongoing, so I won't have any further comment at this moment. But again, I want to thank the Los Angeles Police Department for their work.
As part of the criminal investigation, detectives were back on Irving Boulevard Monday, knocking on Bass's next-door neighbor's door. Police identified the burglary suspect as 29-year-old Ephraim Hunter of Los Angeles. Sunday morning around 6:30, while the mayor and her family were inside, officials say Hunter smashed a glass window and got inside. The LAPD saying someone inside of the home set off an alarm. Police arrested Hunter not long afterwards.
First of all, I am fine. My family is fine. And we are going to do everything we can to keep Angelenos safe. And I believe our budget makes significant contributions and investments toward keeping Angelenos safe.
Court records show a previous arrest for Ephraim Hunter nearly a decade ago in Massachusetts, where he was accused of kidnapping and attempted murder. Karen Bass was the victim of another break-in in another part of Los Angeles 2 years ago when she was a member of the House of Representatives. 2 handguns were stolen. The suspects were convicted and sentenced to prison. In the mayor's current neighborhood, people were surprised to hear that her home was broken into.
I think it has to be somebody who had no idea what he was doing, because it's, there's a lot of security at that building and always has been.
Surprise and a little bit of disappointment, because I thought if that could happen to the mayor's house, then it's not a good look for Los Angeles.
Inmate records show that suspect Ephraim Hunter is still in custody. His bail has been set at $100,000. In Los Angeles, Michelle Geely, KCAL News.
Today, the first witness took the stand in the historic criminal trial of former President Donald Trump. The presumptive Republican presidential nominee is charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records, all linked to so-called hush money payments to cover up an alleged affair with an adult film star. CBS's Robert Costa was inside the court as the case got underway.
It's a very, very sad day in America.
Former President Trump today falsely claimed he was the target of election interference, that Democrats in Washington had orchestrated his indictment to keep him off the campaign trail.
I should be in Georgia now. I should be in Florida now.
But prosecutors told the jury Trump had orchestrated a criminal scheme to corrupt the 2016 election. The prosecution pointed to a 2015 Trump Tower meeting among Trump, his former lawyer Michael Cohen, and then National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, where they allegedly worked out a plan to conceal negative information regarding Trump's alleged sexual encounter with former adult film star Stormy Daniels, all of which Trump denies.
And you had sex with him?
Yes.
You were 27, he was 60. Were you physically attracted to him?
No.
Cohen admitted to paying Daniels $130,000 to suppress her story days before the election. Trump later reimbursed Cohen, citing the payment as legal fees. Prosecutors today called it the porn star payoff.
It's a case as to bookkeeping, which is a very minor thing.
In court, his defense attorney Todd Bland said Trump committed no crime, saying, "I have a spoiler alert. There's nothing wrong with trying to influence an election. It's called democracy." CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman said today was one of the most important moments in a criminal trial.
There are studies that say that 80% of jurors' minds are made up at the end of the opening statements.
As the prosecution's first witness, Pecker, in very brief testimony, did not discuss the 2015 meeting with Trump and Cohen, but acknowledged the Enquirer paid for stories, calling it checkbook journalism.
Inside the courtroom today, the scene was grim and austere, with Trump mostly muted as he watched the proceedings. Sources close to Trump say he is simmering about this trial, and people close to him believe this jury could convict him. Robert Costa, CBS News, New York.
An Israeli military unit accused of human rights abuses, how the U.S. could respond. That's coming up. Plus, some mother's mysterious death after she fell victim to an online romance scam. The clues uncovered by her daughter next.
Hi, Juan. Good evening, everyone. Okay, happy Monday. This weekend, it was pretty, but this week it's going to look and feel different outside. That marine layer is going to be out in full force. We're talking timing of the clouds and potential for showers. That's next.
War protests are escalating in college campuses all across the country. The president of Columbia University in New York took the extraordinary step of moving classes online due to safety concerns for Jewish students. The White House condemns the unrest, calling it blatantly anti-Semitic and dangerous. CBS's Meg Oliver reports.
Tension and concerns about safety continue to embroil Columbia University. With classes remote only, some Jewish students and faculty say the environment has only escalated.
Jewish students are petrified to go onto campus.
For the past 6 days, hundreds of pro-Palestinian demonstrators, including Jewish students, have occupied the school's quad, demanding the school divest from companies funding Israel.
Anti-Semitism is a huge problem in the United States, but anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are two very different things.
Late this afternoon, President Biden denounced anti-Semitism.
I condemn the anti-Semitic protests. That's why I've set up a program to deal with that. I also condemn those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians.
The protests have spread to multiple universities, including the University of Michigan, MIT, NYU, and Emerson College in Boston. About 60 people have been arrested at Yale since the start of the protests. Orthodox Jew Sahar Tartek, the editor-in-chief of the Yale Free Press, says demonstrators surrounded her on campus while she was reporting over the weekend.
So they started taunting me and giving me their middle finger and yelling in my face, and until one of them waved his Palestinian flag in my face and then jabbed me with it in my left eye.
Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
The head of Israel's military intelligence resigned today over the security failures that led to the Hamas attack last fall. It's the first high-level resignation stemming from the deadliest attack in that country's history. Meanwhile, Israeli officials are criticizing an expected move by the Biden administration to blacklist an Israeli military unit over potential human rights violations. Here's CBS's Deborah Pata.
The US is investigating the Netzach Yehuda battalion, made up of ultra-Orthodox soldiers who are accused of human rights violations in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. The probe began after 78-year-old American-Palestinian Omar Assad was found dead after being detained at a checkpoint by Israeli soldiers. Mamdou Abu Ebud was also arrested shortly after Assad. He told us he saw him lying face down in the dirt, bound and blindfolded. After the soldiers left, they ran to call for help from the village doctor Islam Abu Zahir, who tried to revive Assad, eventually pronouncing him dead.
He is old man, he is obese, he can't walk, probably he didn't make any kind of risk for soldiers.
The possibility of blacklisting an IDF unit has intensified scrutiny of the Israeli military. Since October 7, nearly 500 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank. This IDF footage shows a counter-terrorism operation in Tulkarem over the weekend that killed 14 militants. After the IDF pulled out, this is what they left in their wake, this massive destruction. And residents here say they've seen nothing like this before. Israeli bulldozers smashed through homes and shops, tore up roads, severed pumps and power lines, cutting off electricity and water.
Deborah Patter, CBS News, Jerusalem.
And tonight, the head of the FBI says they are on high alert as the Jewish community celebrates the first night of Passover. The holiday started at sunset tonight and it ends nightfall on April 30th. We were invited to a community Seder tonight in Westwood. This year, they left an empty seat at the table to honor a hostage who has been held captive since the October 7th attacks by Hamas in Israel. Passover celebrates the exodus of the Jewish people from slavery in ancient Egypt more than 3,000 years ago. All right, if you've been outside, you know those low clouds, they've moved in, really cool things off. And KCAL's Danny Roberti is here now with more on her next weather. Danny, it's so moist and thick out there, you can almost feel the mist in the air.
I know, that's a perfect way to describe it, Juan. I know I walked out about an hour ago and I was like, oh boy, the clouds, they are rolling back in. And so this is going to be the name of the game this week. We've got that marine layer back, Juan. That's going to make it feel a little bit cooler. You're already seeing outside that marine layer overlooking Santa Monica. Okay, look at our April temperatures so far. You can see we have added another blue box today. We were in the upper 60s, but you are seeing a whole lot of blue boxes in here. This is because we've been dealing with below average temperatures for a whole lot of April. A couple days where it was above average, where we had that warming trend, but more than 2 weeks of temperatures below average, and that's going to be the trend going into the rest of the week. Let's talk about what's next as we jump into our Monday night and into our Tuesday morning. So it's going to be cooler this week, all week long. We're talking temperatures in the 60s with areas of drizzle. Juan mentioned that you can kind of feel it out there tomorrow morning. That's going to be the case. This is a deepening marine layer that we're dealing with. Showers are possible midweek, and then we have a dry and sunny weekend ahead of us. I know it's only Monday, but I'm always looking forward to what's next. And you can see once we get to Saturday and Sunday, we are talking low 70s out there with lots of sunshine. So things are going to feel good this upcoming weekend. Before getting to that, though, we have a lot to talk about. So tomorrow we are waking up to the clouds. Temperatures are going to feel cooler than today. 71 in the valley, 74 in the IE, only reaching the upper 60s. LA, Orange County, the metro areas, beaches only reaching 64 degrees. Let's talk timing of the clouds. So you wake up tomorrow morning, not just for our beach communities, but for our valleys and the Inland Empire, a thick, deepening marine layer. And that's why some drizzle is going to be possible. This is a look at 9 o'clock. You see that through Fullerton, so it might be a little misty out there as you get out on the roads. Even by about 1 o'clock early afternoon, those clouds are going to be very, very stubborn tomorrow. So be prepared for a mostly cloudy day. Still cloudy through downtown Los Angeles into Orange County and the Inland Empire by 1 o'clock. Finally starts to clear in the IE and towards the beaches, but even in the South Bay by 3:45, 4 o'clock, you still have some clouds hovering, and that's going to be the case going into our Wednesday morning and again going into our Thursday morning. Let's take a look at the next 7 days. So you're going to notice a better shot at showers Wednesday night into Thursday. LA, Orange County, highs hover in the 60s all week. We finally get to Saturday, and the 70s will be back. Valleys tomorrow, yeah, another day in the 70s, but cooler Wednesday, Thursday. We'll get sunshine, and then once we get to Friday, you see another chance for some showers. And then in the Inland Empire, 70s for the next couple days, down to the 60s Thursday, and then you see an 80 by the time we get to next Sunday. Coming up, we're going to talk about the timing of some showers by the middle of this upcoming week, and also go in depth on your next weekend. Juan.
All right, we'll check back, Danny. Thanks. Coming up next here at 9, hundreds of grocery stores to be sold as part of a mega merger deal. Plus, construction begins on a high-speed train from LA to Las Vegas. The project moving at lightning speed compared to the California bullet train. Supermarket chains Albertsons and Kroger are hoping to move forward with their proposed merger, so they've agreed to sell more of their stores to satisfy federal regulators. Under the revised deal, the two companies would sell 579 stores to C&S Grocers for $2.9 billion. That's 166 more than originally planned. But in February, the Federal Trade Commission sued to block the merger. The FTC argued not enough stores were being divested, and that raised concerns about lack of competition, higher prices, and job losses. Under the new proposal, C&S would keep all of these stores open and honor any labor agreements. Well, it is Earth Day, and activists are marking the day by celebrating the progress on the wildlife crossing being built in Agoura Hills. It's been 1 year since the groundbreaking for the Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing that will let animals living in the mountain pass over the 101 freeway move around safely. Crews put in the first girders just last week. Construction is expected to finish late next year or early 2026. Well, a mother gets scammed out of her life savings and turns up dead. How an online romance took a dangerous turn. That story is next.
The Supreme Court is hearing a landmark homelessness case, its first in decades. I'm Nicole Skanga outside the High Court as justices weigh whether a city can punish people without shelter for sleeping outside.
And the UC Irvine baseball team is making some noise as the top collegiate team in Southern California. We'll hear from some of their homegrown superstars ahead in sports. The Supreme Court heard arguments today in a historic case on the rights of the homeless. Their decision will likely decide if cities like LA can enforce bans on homeless encampments on sidewalks and in public places. CBS News correspondent Nicole Skanga has details.
The nation's struggle with homelessness reached the Supreme Court Monday for arguments about whether a ban on people sleeping in Grants Pass, Oregon's public parks is constitutional.
What will the city do if you don't prevail here?
The city's hands will be tied. It will be forced to surrender its public spaces as it has been.
The law fines people nearly $300 for sleeping outside when shelter beds are available. Repeat offenders can be sent to jail for 30 days. Lawyers for the city argued the law is compassionate. The High Court's conservative justices seemed open to those claims.
How does this law help deal with the complicated policy issues?
One of the most difficult challenges is getting people the help that they need, and laws like this allow cities to intervene.
The court's liberal justices questioned whether the law criminalizes homelessness.
What you do is say only homeless people who sleep outdoors will be arrested. That's the testimony of your chief of police.
There's nothing in the law that criminalizes homelessness.
That's what you say, but if I look at the record and see differently, it's a different argument.
The appeals court struck down the measure, saying it violated the 8th Amendment because it punishes people for something they don't have control over. Monday, justices weighed whether homelessness is someone's status or their conduct.
A number of us, I think, are having difficulty with the distinction between status and conduct.
Violating this ordinance means you're homeless. So again, homelessness is not something you can that you do, it's just something that you are.
A ruling is expected by the end of June. Nicole Skanga, the Supreme Court.
Well, we could soon find out the fate of a bill that could potentially ban TikTok here in the U.S. Over the weekend, lawmakers voted on legislation that could ban the app if the China-based owner ByteDance doesn't sell its stake. Tonight, CBS News is reporting that the Senate could take up the bill as early as tomorrow with a vote on Wednesday. If that bill passes, the sale would need to happen within a year. For years, lawmakers have expressed concerns about the security of TikTok because of the app's ties to China. Now to a CBS News investigation into the dark and dangerous side of online dating. CBS Evening News correspondent Jim Axelrod introduces us to a daughter whose mother was ensnared what appeared to be a romance scam that cost her far more than her life savings.
Kelly Dow is a daughter searching for answers.
I have an appointment with Detective Jeff Phillips
about what happened to her mother. Laura Kowal, a 57-year-old retired healthcare executive, who was widowed in 2015 and moved from Chicago to the small town of Galena, Illinois, to start her next chapter.
Oh, I love you, honey.
She had all these buckets full in her life, but there was this one bucket that was missing of having a relationship.
So Laura, like 3 in 10 adults have done, turned to online dating, creating a profile on Match.com.
It felt safer to do it that way than to go to a bar and meet somebody.
Online dating felt safer.
Mm-hmm.
She matched with someone who called himself Frank Borg, and who used these 2 pictures stolen from a Chilean doctor. Frank claimed to be a Swedish businessman.
Clearly, my mom felt the emotions of feeling loved. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying, well, how could that happen?
64,000 Americans were taken for more than $1 billion by romance scammers last year, more than double the $500 million it was just 4 years before.
I'm calling in regards to your mother.
When Kelly got a call from a federal investigator
who may have been involved in a fraud scam.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Deputy Tavarthan with the Sheriff's Office. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
she raced to her mom's home, only to find it empty.
You must have been freaking out.
I was.
A search for a missing woman. Laura Cowell was last seen on Friday.
Turning the house upside down, Kelly found emails detailing a fraudulent investment scheme involving a fake company called Goose Investments. CBS News reviewed hundreds of emails from the scammer laying out an elaborate scheme. Over the course of nearly 2 years, Frank convinced Laura to send him $1.5 million. But Goose Investments wasn't real. Frank wasn't real. And buried in a file cabinet was this note from Kelly's mom. I've been living a double life. Yes, it involves Frank. I tried to stop this, but I knew I would end up dead. Laura's body was found in the Mississippi River, more than 200 miles away, somewhere Kelly says she'd never been. The medical examiner called it death by drowning, never ruling homicide or suicide.
I had a lot of questions for the Sheriff's Department down in Missouri that was responsible for the recovery of her body.
Dissatisfied with the response from law enforcement, Kelly began investigating herself, tracing the possible routes where her mother's car was seen on surveillance tape.
This service station here
Yep.
captured your mom's vehicle.
Yep.
Getting answers is now Kelly's life's work.
It wasn't until I learned that I was going to be a mom myself and have a daughter that I knew that one day she would know the full story of how her grandmother passed away. And ultimately, her grandmother's story can save someone's life.
Jim Axelrod, CBS News.
And tomorrow on CBS Mornings, we'll meet a former romance scammer in West Africa. That's tomorrow morning on Channel 2 starting at 4 a.m. Well, construction has officially started on the new bullet train connecting Southern California to Las Vegas. A groundbreaking ceremony for Brightline West was held today. The 218-mile system will be constructed in the middle of Interstate 15. It will have stops in Apple Valley, Hesperia, and end in Rancho Cucamonga. Brightline says the all-electric train will be capable of speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. The project is expected to cut down on travel times and pollution.
Everyone who lives near the 15 will breathe less pollution into their lungs, and everyone across the country will live in a climate with 800 million fewer pounds of carbon pollution annually.
The company says it will only take 2 hours to get from Las Vegas to Rancho Cucamonga. The bullet train can be operating as soon as the summer of 2028, and that's just in time for the Summer Olympics. Well, you got plenty of great baseball here in the Southland, right? Including the collegiate level, and Jamie Maggio joining us with more on that.
Yeah, this is a fun one, Juan. UC Irvine's baseball team is ranked 12th in the country, the only ranked collegiate team here in Southern California. And they're winning with humble, homegrown superstars like their ace, Nick Pinto, who's from Coto de Caza, and he does the team's laundry on Friday nights after his starts. That is a true story. Jill Painter-Lopez has more from her recent trip down to Irvine.
I think we play a really good brand of baseball. I think like when people watch us play that it's a really complete style.
Seems like you guys have a good mixture of veterans and freshmen. How would you kind of describe the team?
We just get along really well. There's a lot of fun personalities on the team and it meshes well.
2-2, curveball got him swinging. That is a signature pitch in the fine career of Nick Pinto.
Nick Pinto is the team's ace, and he's electric to watch, especially under the Friday night lights. After his starts, he's not out celebrating wins. He's got a job to do, doing the team's laundry, and it's all with a smile.
I do the laundry for the team, so I'll stay after and wash the clothes, and when our shortstop Woody Haydeen wants to dive up the middle, I got to pay the price and I got to scrub his jersey and get it good for the next week.
And you don't seem to mind doing that.
No, I love it. I mean, especially when I'm pitching, I don't care. If they're diving left and right, making plays, I'll scrub any jersey.
You've got some fun personalities. You've got your ace and talking to Nick about doing laundry after the game. What do you like about him?
There's not many Friday night guys in the country that do the team's laundry. I think it's guys that want to work. It's guys that put the team first. There's not a lot of entitlement. These guys have worked for everything they've earned, and so it's continued. Even though they've had the success, they still work like they've earned nothing, and so that makes it fun as a coach.
Going back, Caden Kendall at the track, at the wall, leaps up, and he pulled it in. Caden Kendall, a wonderful play.
Caden Kendall is literally the boy next door, having grown up in nearby Huntington Beach. And even in college, he's still doing backflips. A unique skill not many have on their resume.
Well, I started doing it when I was super young. We had a trampoline in our backyard, and then one day I just tried it on the grass, and then I fell a couple times, almost hurt myself, and then I finally got the hang of it, and I would always do it. And same with front flips too, but front flips are way harder.
You done one this year?
I have not done a backflip this year, but every other year I've done it. I'll get one this year.
You get to the College World Series?
Yeah.
Or what would it mean for UC Irvine to get back to the College World Series?
I mean everything. I mean that's why we kind of do what we do. I mean that's why I work here. That's why we recruit a lot of these kids to come here. Is we want to win the national championship here.
Oh boy, and I hope they do win a national championship. Good for them being ranked in the top. Well, they're number 12 in the country.
Yeah, they're on their way. They're so good. Just watching them play here.
So yeah.
Right. So good.
We should go.
Let's do it. All right. Thanks, Jamie.
Woohoo! Hey guys, good evening. Happy Monday to you. Okay, you're gonna notice some changes out there. It was pretty this last weekend. Cooler, that marine layer is back, and we have a chance for showers. We're gonna talk about the timing on those. That's coming up next. Juan?
Danny, also coming up, anti-abortion activists rally in Sacramento as Governor Newsom proposes an emergency order that would allow out-of-state doctors to perform abortions here. That was Tori Apodaca reporting. Little girl's 4th birthday party in Victorville turns into a terrifying scene when a dust devil sends a bounce house flying in the air. Take a look at this. Right out of camera frame. Thankfully, no one was in the bounce house when it left the ground. The family says the dust devil appeared out of nowhere and also flipped over a trampoline onto their truck, crashing the windshield.
It was dangerous, scary, unbelievable. It was, I don't know, there's no words to describe it. It was very scary. Thank God no one was there, and the jumper landed in the neighbor's house.
She says it's always windy in Victorville, but something like this was a big surprise. Well, cooler and cloudier tonight. I'm sure you're feeling that, but does that mean more rain? KCAL's Danny Roberti has your next weather. Spoiler alert, right, Danny?
Yeah, just a wee bit, Juan, but not a whole lot. But yeah, that is a spoiler alert right there. We're going to get right to the meat of all this. Yeah, the marine layer is going to bring us a chance for not just some drizzle, but we're looking at some showers midweek. Here's a live look outside from LAX, and you can see those clouds. They are rolling in right now, and that's the case for a lot of us. Here's a look at our satellite radar, that darker gray showcasing clouds not just for our beaches, but pushing into some of our valleys